A very credible source has heard that Nintendo is asking Switch 2 developers for assets to put together some sort of presentation, and this is where the good gets even gooder. So good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. We also have the first review of Princess Peach Showtime, an awesome remake coming that actually defines the difference between remake and remaster. Hallelujah. And I lost my Star Wars tournament. Star Wars Unlimited tournament went terribly. I lost in the first round, both games. I did not have a play on the first hand, which basically sunk me before I started, which was a huge bummer. Thankfully, I have a brand new cute baby kitten to come home to if you want to see the kitten. And here is his name, which is SwitchForce related. Let me know in the comments down below. But what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Let's kick it off with some Nintendo news. The first Princess Peach Showtime review is in from Famitsu, the very popular Japanese magazine that reviews games and has a bias, I would say, towards games from Japan. So it's no surprise that they gave Princess Peach Showtime a pretty solid review. It got an 8, an 8, a 9, and an 8 for a total of 33 out of 40. Now, this is a little bit lower than what most major first-party Nintendo games receive from Famitsu, but it's still a very solid score. And frankly, I think a 33 out of 40 is what I would expect. Basically, 8s. It's still Nintendo. It's still high quality, but it's not going to reach some, like, mega status because the game is not trying to be the next Super Mario, right? It's clear from the demo and what we played that Princess Peach Showtime is targeting a wider audience, a different audience, but it still may have a lot of charm and a lot of fun in there. I noted that the demo was incredibly easy, but there were a few things that made me say, okay, we could get somewhere. Good Feel is the developer, and they usually make us feel good with games like Yoshi, Crafted, Kirby. What was Kirby again? Felt? Kirby can... What material? What was Kirby made out of? I know he's squishy, but Kirby Canvas? Why am I blanking? Help me out. Yoshi Crafted and Kirby... I'm so blanking. Anyways, they're fun because of their collectibles and because of their charm, their bright colors. And even though the collectibles were super easy and super obvious in the first 2 levels of Princess Peach Showtime, I am confident it will get crazier from there, and we'll be streaming the game on Thursday as soon as it drops. So be there or be a sour, the bad guys in Princess Peach Showtime. Now, I love how they showed off this new Dreamcast game coming to Switch. Well, it's actually an old game because it is Rainbow Cotton, getting a full remake for Nintendo Switch, dropping on May the 9th. I remember hearing about Rainbow Cotton because it was a rare game, hard to get a hold of on the Dreamcast, and I was a bit of like a Dreamcast like cult member. I remember me and my best friend in childhood got Dreamcast, and we were like, this is great. Who needs a PlayStation? This is great. And we had games like Worms and Sonic Shuffle, and we had the fighting games, obviously, and Sonic Adventure. And I remember taking the Dreamcast over to a friend's house and then being like, what is this magical mystery machine? And I was like, yeah, well, enjoy it while it's here because it's going to last for like a year or two. And then it didn't. VMU's rip. But Rainbow Cotton is coming to Switch May 9th, and they have a great video where they indicate like the difference between emulation, remaster, and remake, and show why Rainbow Cotton is a full-on remake. I love this stuff. I think it plays into my constant quandary of what is a remake, what is a remaster, what is just a re-release. It's very hard. Those lines cross and blur often in our modern era. We have so many franchises coming back, and that is fun, but I love that they're very explicitly saying this is a remake. And it makes you wonder with future Nintendo titles what those kind of categorize as, and I would love to see Nintendo do this. They won't, but shout out to freaking Rainbow Cotton, and shout out to the Dreamcast. If you had a Dreamcast, holler at me in the comments down below. I might have to go plug that system in. Play some Choo Choo Rocket. Now that is a fun freaking cat and mouse chase. Everything perfectly segues into the next because it's been a cat and mouse chase with information on Nintendo Switch 2 and frankly any of Nintendo's plans for 2024. They are a mysterious machine and not the kind full of Scooby snacks, instead the kind that's a game publisher, game developer, game behemoth waiting to drop knowledge. But Nate the Hate, Nate Drake, Fantastic Nate, he has put out a new podcast where he talks about why the Switch 2 was delayed internally, when that happened, and what it means for the future. And he basically says he does not know the answer to those questions. But there is a spicy piece of information in the podcast, which is what we're focusing on here today. Nate Drake says that Nintendo has reached out to developers asking for assets from their Switch 2 games. And the only reason Nintendo would do that is not to send them out to their nephews so that they can leak online, but instead to prepare a presentation, to prepare some sort of reveal, to prepare some sort of trailer. Now, I think as it's already second half of March, it's pretty clear that Nintendo is not going to reveal the Switch 2 in March. I think that was the plan when the system was initially to be released in 2024, but now that that's not happening and it's most likely a 2025 title release system hardware, they're going to push that back. I think March is out the window, and we can speculate on an indie world, on a Nintendo Direct. Hey, in fact, Necrophilippe said that he's heard the April Direct is a general Direct, which is freaking sexy. I love the idea of that. He says no dates this time. I've learned he hasn't heard anything. He's heard just that it's a general and sometime in April, which is good news. But to me, that means that anything about the Switch 2 has to be even beyond that. So we're looking at a summertime at the earliest Nintendo Switch 2 reveal, but it could be as late as the fall. If you recall with Nintendo Switch 1, they said, hey, we're working on new hardware, but they didn't really give us any sort of detail, any sort of name, any sort of footage, any sort of trailer, any sort of picture, any sort of anything until the fall right before launch. They dropped something in October and they were like, huzzah, here you go. And then they had their big event in January and the system in March. It's very plausible that Nintendo could do the same, although we have heard rumors from Brazil and others that summer might be the time Nintendo opts to reveal the Switch 2. Now, this would line up with an April Direct because you could have an April Direct be the final big Switch 1 push, announce the big games for the holiday season, and then come forward with Switch 2 stuff. And based on Nate Drake hearing that Nintendo is requesting these materials from developers, they're definitely putting something together. When, where, how, I don't know. How long does it take to put together a Switch 2 reveal trailer? Probably a substantial amount of time. That Switch 1 trailer was ace. It was absolutely bonkers. It showed people on rooftops, at the basketball court, at the Splatoon tournament. It showed Mario Odyssey. It showed a bunch of games. It showed a bunch of fun. It showed a bunch of sick stuff, and it got the Switch sound effect in our heads, the Switch name, the Switch branding. It was a brilliant trailer that just absolutely home runned a new system on the coattails of a absolute bunt. The Wii U is a backwards bunt. It is a foul ball. I don't even think it should count. Although I do love some games on Wii U, and I was thinking about Zombie U the other day with the gamepad, the first title I played that took good advantage of the gamepad, and I was like, man, that was actually a pretty good idea. I digress. It seems like summer could be the Switch 2 reveal, and I think that might be a smart time for Nintendo. It would do a couple of things. They could wait till fall, but going in the summer allows them to A, prep the market and say, hey, we do have something coming. Remember, it's been leaked that PlayStation is dropping a PS5 Pro this holiday season. Xbox is always being weird, and it would behoove Nintendo to say, like, we've got a big new thing coming, get ready. You might worry about them cannibalizing Switch sales, but I don't think they care. The Switch will continue to sell, especially if it has good games this holiday season, and the Switch has already sold so much that if it did slow down, it wouldn't, kneecap Nintendo in any way, shape, or form. But what this also does is it allows the investors to feel assured that Nintendo does have a plan. It allows investors to feel like, okay, we can be confident in the stock price, we can be confident in the trajectory of the company, we know that they have something going on. If they wait till October, like they did with the Switch 1, and they have a lighter 2024, it's going to seem pretty doom and gloom. Even though we know, obviously, Nintendo isn't quitting and they're not stopping, they have something coming, it's in the works, have you heard all the rumors? I'm sure investors would rather hear from the horse's mouth, and this horse is named Furukawa. Furukawa the horse, just, gosh, don't remind me of freaking Horse Party 1-2 Switch. Instead, let's talk about a different animal, and let's say that this is going to be a beautiful dragon spewing the fire of a new console for Nintendo that will release in 2025. Even if Nintendo just says, here it is, here's the name, here's the logo, that is enough to get investors hot and bothered. But if they are requesting materials, assets from developers, then to me it says that they're preparing a trailer. Maybe Nintendo will not go the slow and steady route that they used with the Switch 1, and instead will have a more bombastic reveal. Instead of just saying, we're working on new hardware, and then a long time later saying, ta-da, here's the trailer, maybe they'll just say, we're working on new hardware, check it out, here's a trailer, and they're going to show off some of their games, some third-party games, and make a big reveal of it and say, it's coming in 2025, get ready, get set. Oh yeah, we had a direct in April, so we still have games. I think April to June, April to July is enough time where you can settle in with the Switch's expected 2024 lineup, let people know that the Switch is still being supported, let people know that there's still a reason to buy a Switch this year, all the great sales, all the already existing titles, all the DLC, and of course, the new games that are coming soon, plus nostalgic favorites, Paper Mario, Luigi's Mansion, etc., so on and so forth. And then, hey, you got this new system, the investors are cool, the gamers are cool, and know that it's coming early 2025, so mark your calendars. I feel like that's what Nintendo will do, and I think today's information, today's rumor leak from Nate Drake, just supports the theory that Nintendo is closer to revealing this thing than they are farther. March is, in my opinion, completely off the table, especially with repeated rumors of an April Nintendo Direct. There's no way in my mind that Nintendo reveals this hardware before they set the lineup for Switch 1, and I think that's going to happen in April. And then after that, Switch 2. But waiting until October feels like it might be too long. It's not out of the cards, I'd say, but it's more like a 7. I think the kings, the aces, the queens, that's the summer. And when they choose to do that will be interesting. They could do it before Luigi's Mansion 2. They've got a nice gap between May 23rd with Paper Mario and the end of June with Luigi's Mansion, or they could do it in July, especially if they have no July game. Maybe July is a great time to just use that month to introduce the Switch 2 and let people know that there's another console coming from Nintendo. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and of course, let me know if you want to see my kitty. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. Thanks for watching. SwitchForce out.